Things are gonna get crazy.
Most everyone's mad here.
Never gonna be president now. Never gonna be president now. Never gonna be president now. Never gonna be president now.
Alright, that's it. Just, I need to just put up that. I can't do more or else, the copyright people are gonna come after me. Yes, people! Welcome to a very special day in AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. Well, it's not specifically for AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast, but we have entered upon a brand new age in humanity. One that is guaranteed to be a lot more loving, a lot more caring, a lot more diverse, and a lot more unifying than the last one for sure. It is official, everybody. We have finally got the results. As of this morning that I am recording this, Joe Biden has officially won Pennsylvania, making him the next president of the United States of America, the United States of America, and finally, the downfall of the Trump administration. I have been waiting for fucking years for this moment, and I might swear a little bit more than usual at this point, but I mean, like, it's kind of a given considering that I've been waiting for so long, and I just need to say that it's been years since this has been bubbling up in me, but I can finally go and freaking say it that I am so glad that this freaking tyranny is over. Every single statement that I have made about Donald Trump and all of his supporters, whether it be in my old podcasts, in this podcast, or in my videos, you know for a fact that they are all true. You know that I have been stating the truth about Donald Trump, about all his supporters since the very beginning, and some of you are just way too scared to go and admit it. But more and more are starting to admit it and even apologize to me about it, so that's pretty good. But the thing is with Donald Trump, holy crap, I think it is safe to say that he has been the worst thing to ever happen to America since 9/11. And I'm sure that more than 240,000 people who died of COVID can agree with me on that. And every single person who has supported Donald Trump and who has voted Donald Trump, whether it be in 2016 or in this year, well, those are the people that are the equivalent of those terrorists that flew the plane and took down the World Trade Center. He really is that bad. It is accurate. It is factually accurate to call Donald Trump America's Hitler. And yes, it actually does mean that all Trump supporters are Nazis. I don't freaking care about feelings anymore. I need to go and state the facts. And honestly, I don't care about people trying to say like, oh, well, not all Trump supporters. Don't give me any of that all Trump supporter garbage, okay? If you support Donald Trump even after all these years, then you are complicit to his tyranny, to his dictatorship, to his white supremacy. Donald Trump stands against everything related to democracy, about what America is all about, and pretty much the most corrupted person ever. So if you do support Donald Trump, that pretty much means you emphasize everything that Donald Trump stands for. You are pretty much, like, all Trump supporters are as racist as the Ku Klux Klan. All Trump supporters are sexist and they hate all women. All Trump supporters are homophobic. All Trump supporters are xenophobic. All Trump supporters are transphobic. And what else? Anti-Semitism, of course, considering like even real neo-Nazis support Donald Trump. And like, is there anything that I'm missing here? Every form of bigotry, every form of discrimination fully embodies Donald Trump. And if you really are that upset if I call you racist, if I call you misogynistic, then don't support Donald Trump. Then you try to hide. Why don't you go hide those deplorable feelings and actually join the mentally functioning people into actually finding true justice? If you don't want to be called racist, then say Black Lives Matter and that there should be a police reform. You want to say that you don't want to be called misogynist? Then support women's rights, support justice for women, support the #MeToo movement, and listen to what women have to say, and be pro-choice. Make abortion permanently legal. And if you want to actually be pro-life, if you want to be legitimately called pro-life, then support strict gun reform. Try and tell everybody to wear a mask, goddammit. That's the reason why America has become the epicenter of the freaking coronavirus. It's because of the incompetence of Donald Trump, his freaking lackeys, like his little group of Mussolinis like McConnell and Lindsey Graham, and the fake Christian Ted Cruz and Mike Pence, and all the other people. And if you want to be a real Christian, then condemn Donald Trump. You gotta be anti-Donald Trump, because you know Donald Trump embodies everything that is completely un-Christian. There is no such thing as an intelligent Trump supporter. There is no such thing as a real Christian Trump supporter. Donald Trump of the GOP has pretty much proven that conservatism is pretty much like a mental disorder. But that doesn't mean that I'm saying that you must be liberal instead of conservatism. I'm saying to moderate your conservatism, move a little bit more towards the left, okay? Try to be more like a John McCain conservative instead of being a Trump conservative. And by the way, no, this is not a way that you can go and scapegoat everything, alright? This is not something that you can blame the left on everything, because we all know for a fact that every single Trump supporter is a lot more violent than Antifa and the far left. Okay? That's the facts. There is no both sides on the garbage. There is no, oh, well, the left can be as violent as the right. No, screw all this. And by the way, to all those freaking centrists that think both sides are bad, screw your condescending attitude. Seriously, that's the one thing that a liberal and a conservative can agree on. They want to beat up centrists. If you are a centrist, then honestly, I highly recommend you shut the hell up before you bring out your stupidity and embarrass yourself. However, I will say this one thing. If you are a Trump supporter, though, and you are upset that Trump has lost, and that we are going to enter into a more democratic culture and society thanks to Joe Biden, or that we're not going to be more towards a fascist level of America closer to Nazi Germany, then if you want to come back to society, if you don't want to be treated like a criminal like how all cops have been treating black people, then all you have to do is just simply apologize and concede. That's it. Just say that you were wrong and that all the liberals and that all the Democrats were right about Donald Trump and all the Trump supporters. That being a Trump supporter is like being a Nazi and is like being an anti-American criminal. That Trump supporters are pretty much terrorists, no different than ISIS and Al-Qaeda or any of those groups. Like Confederacy, neo-Nazism, white supremacy, they all need to be things that must be criminalized and silenced, and that the police should go first, more so than Black Lives Matter protesters or people trying to fight for justice for human rights. That you must try to say that, you must try to go and concede. You must, like, if you want to be a true American, or if you want to be a true member of society, you must go and treat Democrats and liberals as better, not as better, but as well as you treat Republicans. Like, that's the thing. This whole attitude is just treat others like how you want to treat yourself, basically. If you treat liberals and Democrats nicely, and you respect their viewpoints, then you can go and they will go and respect you as well. Again, if you want to be a true American, then you have to apologize, concede, and work with Democrats in order to actually become united, to be the united in the United States of America. But for now, this is a moment to celebrate, and we can all finally go and have a big party and celebrate the fall of American Nazism like it's 1945, y'all! Woo! Oh man, I just gotta say, folks, that's just so, I had these feelings bubbling for so long, and I just need to go and let that out there. Honestly, I just had to let it out, and it feels so good. Alright, so with that said, I think it is time that we should go and actually start this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. What do you say, folks? Now that we're in the middle of this celebration, are we all ready to go and begin the stories that I have in store for AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, folks. Let me hear it. Are you all ready for this? Let's see. All right. Yes, that's perfect. That's great to hear, everybody. All right. So now, with that said and done, it is now time that we are going to go and get things started. And with the first story that I have right over here, actually, it's not going to be a news story, but instead, I figured that I know that things have been a little bit intense this week because, let's be honest, with the elections, it has been the most intense and stressed out week that everyone has endured, but at least in terms of the mentally functioning people, it is a moment that it finally did pay off. And from there, you probably have noticed that, like I said, yes, it's been very stressful, but something to go and cool off. So, why don't we go and, have some fun? Something to enjoy. And this might be a little bit political, but at the same time, this is mainly actually going to be about cartoon history. What we are actually going to go and look upon is actually going to be about some cartoon history and a little bit of meme history as well. Because this is actually regarding a meme that, especially this week, you have definitely seen a lot of. So, with that said, I would like to go and start things off by talking about the history of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida. Now, chances are, you have probably seen that famous gif of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida. Let me show you. It's, if you can see it, then it's right here. You see Bugs Bunny, he's pretty much taking a saw, he's angrily sawing off the floor, and, then you suddenly see Florida just completely separating from the United States of America. Now, have you ever wondered, where did this meme come from? Did you ever know about, what is the origins of this meme in the first place? Well, there actually was a fascinating little article here coming from melmagazine.com, which actually does talk a little bit about the history of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida and where this actually came from. So I'll do my best to go and summarize what this is all about. And basically, this gif of Bugs Bunny actually came from the 1949 cartoon Rebel Rabbit. Now, Rebel Rabbit is a cartoon that is directed by Bob McKimson, and if you guys know, or if you guys don't know, Bob McKimson is actually one of the big Looney Tunes directors, considered in the same ranks as Chuck Jones and Friz Freleng. This is the guy who actually created many beloved Looney Tunes characters, or some of the other ones, including the Tasmanian Devil, Foghorn Leghorn, I don't know why the fridge that was hard to say, and also the man who created Speedy Gonzales. We know Speedy Gonzales is technically a Friz Freleng character, but the man who came up with the idea of Speedy Gonzales was actually Bob McKimson. And Rebel Rabbit is a cartoon that some may say that it shouldn't work, yet it does. Because here's the concept of it all. This is actually about Bugs Bunny, who is pretty much upset at America and wants revenge against it. Why is that? Well, the thing is actually regarding the price of the animals. Because at the beginning of the cartoon, Bugs Bunny saw that if you hunt for foxes, they will be worth $50. If you go hunt for bears, they are $75. But if you go hunt for rabbits, they're just 2 cents. Literally, not $2, just 2 cents. And this, of course, has infuriated Bugs Bunny, in which he tries to go and talk to the game commissioner about that whole situation, and was just massively upset that the rabbits are pretty much worthless compared to foxes and bears. And the reason why the game commissioner put it at 2 cents is mainly because rabbits are harmless compared to fox and bears. So as revenge, Bugs Bunny decided to go and just prove that he is a bigger bounty than foxes and bears. And what he does is just completely mess up America. And by the way, some of the things I'm going to mention is actually literal because, as we know, this is a cartoon. So what Bugs Bunny would do, I'll try to think about as much as I can, but he took all the American railways and tied them all in a knot, including a pretty little bow. He also shut down the Niagara Falls, so now no more water is flowing. He filled up the Grand Canyon, so there's no more canyon, and now it's just a flat desert everywhere. What else did he do? Oh yes, he decided to take the entirety of New York City and gave it back to, the Native Americans, so now it's their land once again. And finally, probably the biggest one of them all, the most well-known, is Bugs Bunny cutting loose Florida. Oh, and there is actually one more thing I just thought of. This one also includes going to the Panama Canal and switching locks, where he literally found the locks of the Panama Canal and just switched them. But in terms of the Florida one, I actually do have the cartoon right over here through Daily Motion. Here, and I'll just show you the clip of that little moment where Bugs Bunny does actually cut Florida loose from the United States. Where would it be? Yes, okay, so it's like around the 4-minute mark, so it's just, here, let's go back a little bit. There we go.
That does it. South America, take it away.
And you know, I just need to go and make this one quick comment about this. I think, honestly, like, with the context of the cartoon, like, now with the audio, it actually makes it better than the GIF. Because the thing is that you add in Bugs Bunny, in which he would go and mention, like, specifically for South America, to take Florida from the United States. I think it really adds that extra layer. It's like the cherry on top to the whole meme. But anyways, going back to Rebel Rabbit, for a while, it has often been considered to be a secondary Bugs Bunny cartoon. It's not one that has often been mentioned or often been regarded as, like, one of the best in the ranks of, like, Rabbit of Seville or What's Up or Doc. However, as time would move on, it did start to gain momentum and a little bit more popularity, where some people would state that it's actually one of the most underrated Looney Tunes cartoons, where there are several books and several people, significant people even, that would actually go and mention about the popularity, or not the popularity, but how underrated Rebel Rabbit is. Books such as Cartoon Carnival, or there is the book from Bob McKimson Jr., the son of Bob McKimson, called I Say, Son, a tribute to legendary animators Bob, Chuck, and Tom McKimson. And even the recent voice of Bugs Bunny, Eric Bauza, gave praise to Rebel Rabbit. In fact, let me go and read you a little bit from my source here on Mel Magazine, in which they took a quote from Cartoon Carnival describing about Rebel Rabbit, as it states, "This cartoon utterly rejects the Chuck Jones dictum about Bugs Bunny, that the rascally rabbit must be provoked into saying, 'Of course you know this means war.' This was a notion set forth by animation director Chuck Jones, which suggested that to be sympathetic, Bugs must be provoked to doing bad things, i.e., he can't just be an asshole for the sake of it. In Rebel Rabbit, of course, Bugs' actions are completely out of control and not all justified, and the cartoon is all the funnier because of it." So that's pretty much a little bit of the history of the cartoon itself. But what about the meme? What about the popularity of just Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida? What about that GIF itself? Well, the reason why it became so popular is mainly because of the state of Florida. And this is to no offense to Floridians out there, well, maybe except for the Trump supporters, but the thing with Florida is that when they get stupid or when they get crazy, they are at a completely other level. They are on a level, on a bar of its own because of it. And from there, you know that Florida would often do, like, the most insane and craziest thing. If ever you would hear somewhere in North America that there's a person who does an absolutely unthinkably stupid thing, then there's a very good chance that it is in Florida. That's why you would often hear the term Florida man, where if you hear an insane person in Florida doing something crazy, then they're just going to deem him Florida man. In fact, you could say that Florida is actually run by a Florida man with Ron DeSantis, especially with the horrible ways that he is pretty much controlling Florida, or how he's governing Florida, especially during the pandemic, where he's making it one of the most infected states in the entire country. So yeah, Florida is definitely in control of a freaking Florida man. Or you could even argue that Trump is a Florida man with all the insane things he has done. Going back into this, so yeah, like every time, but the point is that every time you would hear the news talk about something crazy, or like whenever there's a story that goes viral about a Florida man going crazy in Florida, then often what people do as a response is to go and put up this GIF. Like they would just put up the GIF of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida as a way to try to distance themselves from Florida because of all the insane stories that they would hear that would happen in the state. And especially this week, it has definitely been used a lot, considering the context of the 2020 U.S. presidential elections. As you guys probably know, Trump actually did win Florida. It was a very tight race ever since the beginning, but as it turned out, I think it was mainly due to Miami not being as supportive to Joe Biden than they even were to Hillary Clinton back in 2016. It ended up giving Trump the Florida win. And so from there, people's immediate first reaction is to go and put up this GIF. That's why it was massively popular. And that's probably why you saw everybody putting up the GIF of just Bugs Bunny sawing Florida off, because they want to try to distance themselves from all that stupidity. Now, if I may go and put a little bit of my commentary on this whole GIF and even the cartoon itself. Now, like earlier, I did mention that this whole GIF, the cartoon actually. I mentioned before that the cartoon is a cartoon that shouldn't work, and yet it does. And the reason why I say that is mainly because this is a cartoon where, as like Cartoon Carnival stated, that this really is unlike Bugs Bunny. The kind of attitude that he would go and present, like, this is something that you would expect a little bit more from someone like Daffy Duck, more so than you would find from Bugs. And yet, it still feels like a Looney Tunes cartoon with the type of humor and the type of chaos that they would go and present. And it's just all the funnier to see it, especially with the gags that they would go and present, with the way that Bugs Bunny is just screwing up America. Rather it be shutting off Niagara Falls, giving New York City back to the natives, sawing off Florida, or even like with the cute little joke with the locks in Panama Canal. It's just like, it's pure Looney Tunes madness. And yes, even though this is kind of out of character for Bugs Bunny, it actually does work out more in its favor, which is exactly why many people actually state that this is one of, if not the best Bugs Bunny cartoon by Bob McKimson. And if I may go and put in my commentary as well for the GIF itself, for the whole Bugs Bunny meme of sawing off Florida, personally, like, I definitely do think it's one of the better Bugs Bunny memes out there. In fact, this might be a controversial statement, but personally, I feel like Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida is a much better meme than Big Chungus. Like, yeah, Big Chungus can be funny sometimes, and especially in the context of the cartoon, it can be, it can be quite hilarious as well. But the thing is that as a meme, Big Chungus does not have that much substance. The thing is with Big Chungus is that the punchline of it all is that it's a fat Bugs Bunny. That's literally it. There's only so much that you can do with just a fat Bugs Bunny. But Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida, I feel like there is a lot more substance. I feel like there is a lot more commentary, and there is a lot of strong use with what you can do with that GIF and how you want to present that meme. And not to mention that there are even some varieties of it. I remember back in 2016 when the tragic moment of America's Hitler winning the 2016 election, I remember a lot of Canadians shared this GIF. It's a variant of this, an edited version, where Bugs Bunny, instead of sawing off Florida, it's Bugs Bunny that's in Canada. He's sawing off the United States so that it could drift away from Canada. So there are many different uses that you can use with this meme. In a way, I guess you could say that the way that I view it is that you got the Virgin Big Chungus versus the Chad Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida. So that's just a little bit of cartoon history that I would like to present, especially when this meme was just absolutely popular. So, hopefully you will learn a lesson, and hopefully, not only will you understand more about where this meme come from, but hopefully that you will use this meme wisely. For the next time you hear about Florida Man doing something stupid, then you understand the reason why you would want to use this GIF in particular. Okay, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you all, what do you think about the meme of Bugs Bunny sawing off Florida? What's your opinion of it, and have you often used this meme? Let me know what you all think about this. Okay. Let's see. Bugs Bunny sure has a knack for getting into the realm of memes, eh? I'm not entirely sure if I'll remember this one as much as Communist Bugs or the almighty Big Chungus, but I could see plenty of opportunities for plentiful memes, especially after Florida went for Trump. And with Bugs' words in mind, I hope South America, like dudes who kill imaginary friends or have sex with Olaf toys. Oh yeah, that is true, man. Sometimes things are bad in Florida when even America just wants to distance themselves from it. It's like, yep, no, you can take it, South America. Here, you voted for Trump, so maybe you'll really like that Brazil president there. He's like Trump. He is another Vladimir Putin wannabe, so maybe you would want him. Okay, what else do we have here? This meme was totally appropriate to our reality right now. Of course, I remember seeing this particular cartoon when I was a kid and hating it because it showcased Bugs arguably at his nastiest, because I have yet to understand that type of humor. However, looking at it now, it's pretty darn accurate to what I've seen when people have abandoned all their morals, and yes, including some online reviewers. Yeah, that definitely is true. And the thing with the thing with this one, I don't necessarily blame you if you are not in favor of the cartoon, because yeah, as I stated before, this is Bugs Bunny going completely out of character. The last time that we've seen Bugs Bunny like this pissed off is the cartoons that also feature Cecil the Turtle, or like with the Gremlins, when Bugs Bunny would be the one having the short end of the stick. Those would be the moments where that are also a bit out of character for Bugs Bunny and is a bit more angry. So I don't necessarily blame you there, but then you see it in context, with the whole cartoon with what they set up. It's actually a lot of fun, actually. It's still, it may not feel like Bugs Bunny, but it is absolutely pure Looney Tunes. Let's see, what else do we got here? We may think that Bugs Bunny cut Florida loose because he wanted a big bounty, but doing it because of the Trump supporters does also make sense. But I like to think that he didn't want to deal with the Florida men anymore. He had to make sure that there was no one in North America that was crazier than him or any of his pals. Oh my god, that is actually an amazing theory right there. That is amazing. It's like someone told, in a way, it's like someone told Bugs Bunny that, the most foxes and bears are in Florida, so he wants to try to saw them off to prove that he's better than foxes and bears, or nastier than them as well. But I like that theory, honestly. That's a pretty good one. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Bugs is right to saw off the state that endorses a rotting orange. If pulled off correctly, a protagonist becoming an antagonist can deliver some unexpected comedy gold. No wonder he's in the spotlight now, just like Sesame Street Count. Yeah, oh yeah, that is another character that is, like, massively popular, the Count. And this is especially the fact that, oh my god, it's been literally days since, like, the election. Like, keep in mind, the election started out on Tuesday, and Joe Biden wasn't announced as the winner until freaking Saturday. So still, it was the most grueling and intense week that most people have ever spent. I could definitely say for myself that it has certainly been the most intense and grueling week of my life. And keep in mind, I'm freaking Canadian. And yet, like, most other Canadians as well, like, they're pretty tensed up as much as, like, the Americans are for this freaking election. And I mean, like, then again, some people could argue, like, are we really that surprised that the orange state wanted to vote for the orange president? Like, keep that in mind. Let's see, what else do we got here? Also, AniMat's, fun fact. I take the Florida meme seriously mainly because it's so true since I live in Florida. People in Florida are so stupid. Ron DeSantis doesn't help either, since he's once again disgraceful, disgusting, and despicable. I know you're not a Thomas fan, but I had to say it again. Disgraceful, disgusting, and disgraceful, disgusting, despicable. I can actually hear it in that voice, but no, at least it is a nice confirmation that even people in Florida know about the Florida man memes, and they know it can be true. They know the insanity that people can have in frickin' Florida. Alright, I'll go and read one more comment, and then we're going to jump on to the next story. So let's see now. So Bugs acted like Trump before Trump was even elected. Well, now that I got the obvious out of the way, this joke is shocking and funny at first, but damn it, now I know the context, it's freaking hilarious. But seriously, now I want to watch the short attached to the joke because of this. Thanks, Matt, I needed this. Oh yeah, that is one thing I highly recommend you do. Go and watch Rebel Rabbit. And I'm not saying this as like, please do so to understand the context. I'm just saying it because it's freaking hilarious. It is a great cartoon. Even before, like, starting this podcast, I watched the cartoon. It's only like 6.5 minutes long, but still, it is worth it. And if you really do want a good laugh, I recommend checking out Rebel Rabbit. Alright, so now with that story out of the way, let us now go and jump onto the next one, in which we actually have a trailer. And what we are going to watch is actually a little bit of a reminder that Halloween is officially over. And pretty soon, Christmas is going to come around the corner. And from there are some people who are already starting to put up their decorations, even if it is absolutely early and just less than 2 months away. But that also means that there are going to be some major networks who are already going to go and promote some Christmas specials or whatever Christmas content that they want to give out. So, with that said, let us go and check out what Disney Plus has in store and go see the latest trailer, or our first major look into the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. So let's go and check it out.
'Twas the night before Life Day, in a galaxy far, far away.
Looking good. Tree, food, decorations.
Coming together heroes were to celebrate the day.
Please be a cape. Please be a cape.
It's a wrap! For Rey, adventure called, and she thought it would be fast.
Wow.
But there she found a key to the galaxy's past.
Sorry! Oh, Master Luke!
What are you doing?
This is so cool! We've seen my master. My master's master.
Concentrate!
My master's father.
Impressive.
My master's father's master.
Emperor Palpatine? I don't believe it!
You think maybe you could put a shirt on?
It's a key to travel across space and time.
I will change the future.
So sure are you?
Less talky, more fighty.
Pod races.
Jigs! Oh, double jigs!
So cute.
Gimme, gimme, gimme! Galaxy's best emperor. Meh!
You thinking what I'm thinking?
Music! A time of joy. This is
Hooray!
a friendship, a family.
Who are you guys?
Master Skywalker.
My son. I mean, these binary sons.
Junta solos?
You wanna shoot first?
After you.
And that was the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. Now, I did talk about this before, honestly. You might recall a few weeks ago, I did discuss that they have announced that they would do this LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. And to be very honest, I am actually a little bit surprised of the fact that it has very little to do with the Star Wars Holiday Special. It's not like a full-on recreation of the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. Like, they're doing something that is, like, absolutely different. And honestly, I didn't really necessarily think much of it because I'm not necessarily all that familiar with the LEGO Entertainment franchise. And like, yeah, I have seen like the LEGO movies, of course, like the ones that were done by Warner Brothers. But the stuff that are like TV specials related to like LEGO Star Wars or LEGO Frozen or LEGO Lord of the Rings or whatever, like I'm not necessarily all that familiar with. But looking at this, I'm not gonna lie, now I see what they're trying to do, and it's actually a lot cuter than I thought, actually. Like, for a moment, there are a lot of times that I even completely forgot that this is even a holiday special in the first place. From what I've been seeing, this actually seems more like a little bit of both a satire and an homage to the whole Star Wars franchise. Like, not just the recent trilogy that we have gotten. Like, even though this does star characters such as, like, Rey, Finn, Poe, Rose, and all those people, but this is pretty much an entire homage to the whole Skywalker saga, where they would even go and get into elements of, like, the original trilogy and even a little bit of the prequels as well, especially when you do see characters such as Darth Vader being very prominent, a younger Luke Skywalker as well, and then you would also bring in characters like the Emperor, Yoda, and all those guys. Like, everyone has pretty much decided to go and come back. And there are a lot of times where they would actually poke fun at, like, some of the things that people often make fun about, or, like, the major theories that would keep launching from Star Wars. Like, they did the little joke related to, where was it? It's like, I think it's like, yeah, like at the end, like the last joke that they did was like the who shot first thing. Like, you know, is it either Guido or Han Solo who shot first? And then when, like, we got the two Han Solos, like the young one and the old one from the recent trilogy. And then they would also go and make a joke about like Darth Vader revealing too early that he's Luke Skywalker's father. Or, like, there are plenty of examples. Or, like, even, like, making fun a little bit of, like, the recent trilogy. Especially, like, when you got Kylo Ren meeting up with Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. And, like, he's just, like, fanboying out like crazy. And they actually did make fun of his abnormal chest in a way. So, like, there are those moments that they're not afraid to go and poke fun of itself. Especially when it comes to its little quirks. And I will admit, one thing that I am surprised about, even though, like, they are highlighting the entire Skywalker saga, I am actually kind of surprised that they even got, like, a special appearance of the child and the Mandalorians. Like, they will even include the Mandalorian. So it really is a massive reference to all of the Star Wars saga, including some of the moments like in the TV shows like The Mandalorian. But then again, you could say that it does make a little bit of sense considering that this is going to be on Disney Plus and The Mandalorian is currently on Disney Plus, so of course they would have to bring those in. And I do realize that, like, they even got the robot on the side, so it looks like they might even reference the final episode of Season 1, actually. I forgot the robot's name. If you do remember it, you can go and write it on the chat wall or in the comments or something. But I do remember, yeah, like this is the robot that is voiced by Taika Waititi. Yeah, IG-11. Yeah, like they even got, yeah, like the child is actually being carried by IG-11. So it is a nice little nod that they do include, but it wasn't until just recently that after watching this trailer, it did make me realize of what this whole thing actually is. And why do, like, I'm not gonna lie, I did actually have that little sense of familiarity when watching this trailer, where I've seen this done a lot before, but I didn't really, like, get, you know, it didn't fully click until I realized the whole thing with the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. This is like a kid-friendly version of the Robot Chicken Star Wars specials, because they do the same thing as well. You know, they highlight and often they satirize many of the major moments throughout the Star Wars trilogy, whether it be in the prequels, in the original trilogy, or even in the sequel trilogy as well. You do get that massive sense of familiarity, and of course, like, that comedic aspect where it will make fun of each other. They will throw in a bunch of random gags, except this time around, instead of being Robot Chicken, now it's more Lego themed, where they are a lot more kid friendly, so they're going to be less violent. They're not going to include as much sex jokes. But yeah, like, that's where I get that sense. It's like, okay, this is where I've seen it before, and that's why I will admit that watching this trailer, I could see that this thing could legitimately work. This thing could legitimately be fun, and it could be like a nice little homage for Star Wars fans to get together and to look back throughout the whole trilogy, what they went through from the Phantom Menace to the Rise of Skywalker, and, you know, and just have a blast while having that holiday spirit because of, like, Life Day. Now, even though I said that this might have nothing to do with the regular Star Wars Holiday Special, I will say, though, that, like, it is true, they're not going to hold back from doing references from that as well, because you do look back at, like, some of the characters that might have appeared, and, like, you will see there will be characters, like, there will be little nods to the actual Star Wars Holiday Special, more specifically with the Wookiees, where you do see some of Chewbacca's family members. There was even one little moment, I don't know where it is in the trailer, where you actually do see, many of the Wookiees trying to do a snow angel, and it's, like, a reference to show that, yes, they're gonna, yeah, there it is. Like, yeah, you see, like, all the Wookiees getting together, and, like, they're actually gonna, they're gonna mention about Chewbacca's family actually coming back to this. So, overall, this is completely different from what I would expect from a Lego Star Wars Holiday Special, but I will say, this actually does look very cute. And honestly, I could see how Star Wars fans can actually have a lot of fun with this, especially for the kids. Like, I think, like, young Star Wars fans, they're really gonna eat this up, and they're gonna have a great time with this. So, yeah, overall, my thoughts is that this is actually pretty cute. And if you guys are pretty excited to go and check this out, then just keep in mind that the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special is actually going to be coming in a few weeks on November 17th on Disney+. So, with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and now I want to ask, what do you all think about the trailer for the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special? Are you guys interested in checking it out? Do you think it's going to be fun? Are you guys less interested in this? Let me know what you all think. Okay, so let's see what we got here. For my thoughts, it looks fine. I'll admit I'm in the same camp that I don't follow Lego stuff a lot, except for maybe the DC Comics stuff like the video games. So I might give it a casual watch. Although honestly, I did notice with both the announcement and right now, some people are not taking this special super well. While I respect their opinion, I'm going to paraphrase Dr. Kane from Batman Begins. You seem like the guy that takes yourself way too seriously. Oh yeah, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I am not surprised that there are people that kind of hate this, and that is mainly because of the Star Wars fan base, where this does not reflect upon everyone, but it really does show that there are some people that take it a little too seriously than they should. And the problem is that with the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special, this is not something that you should take seriously. That's one of the last things that you have to do. You need to have the ability to look at the whole Star Wars franchise and try to make fun at some of its expense, like that you're able to laugh at some of the problems that they might actually have. You know, if you're not going to have a good time having a fun, casual discussion about either The Last Jedi or about who shot first, then honestly, this is not going to be for you. Okay, so let's see what we got here. As someone who dropped and lost interest in Star Wars due to the sequels and the fandom, I'm actually kind of hyped for this. Star Wars is always at its best when it takes itself less seriously, and remember to have fun with it, to have fun with itself, especially of all the pressing stuff that happened in the movies, and again, the fandom. I'm willing to say that it could help bring together the fandom in some way. Here's hoping. Anyways, I can't wait to watch this with my family in the holidays. Oh, dude, I mean, like, I understand you do mean well, but I think it's going to take so much more than just a LEGO holiday special to unite all the Star Wars fans. I think, they got a long way to go, honestly. I just need to point that out there. Like, I admire your optimism, but sometimes you need to be realist sometimes. Okay, so anyways, let's see what else we got. As a fan of the Star Wars sequels, yes, even Rise of Skywalker, it must really say something when a 2-minute trailer of a LEGO special is better than actual Star Wars holiday special. The animation is pretty decent, the jokes are decent as well, and complement a fun idea. And hell, I'll even give props to not include the VR Wookiee porn. I'll probably check this out once it's released. Oh yeah, because we definitely want to see a freaking VR version of like the old Wookiee just checking on his VR going yeah, because kids definitely want to see that version in freaking Lego form. Oh, fudge nab. That or like also have Carrie Fisher just like really hyped up on drugs while singing a Life Day song. Like, I'll admit, actually, like, it's a little too stupid, I know, even for this special, but I will give props if they could actually do that for the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. That would be amazing. Okay, let's see what else we got. This LEGO special is a master fustercluck, and I am all here for it. Massively excited for this because of everything involved behind the scenes. Also, having a freaking insane story here helps too. Either way, I'm very excited for it. Alright, that's nice. Where else? Oh, okay, I'll go here. I can expect this to be much better than the original holiday special. While the original felt really unfitting because it felt like a 70s variety show in a mostly serious series with a vast mythos, the fact that this is LEGO does make it clear that we are not meant to take it so seriously, and it is completely separate from the movies. And it's nice to know that even Vader thinks that the child is adorable. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's the funny thing about it, is that the thing that really makes it work is the fact that it's actually a LEGO animated special. Like, even if they do just a regular animated special, it wouldn't work as well. So that's kind of the irony of all this. Okay, so what else we got? I'll read one more comment before we jump into the next story. For this Star Wars special, is that your base more around from the other primetime series that used to have like Star Wars Droid Tales or C-3PO retells the entire saga in a comedic way, and everything else is like a spin-off like Freemakers overall. This looks really hilarious to watch, and who knows, this might have to be a fun thing to be into. I know it's going to be really funny, so I hope you'll actually enjoy it too. Alright, so it's nice to know that a lot of people are actually pretty excited and know that this is something it's not meant to be taken seriously. So if you guys are hyped up to go and check out the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special, remember that it's going to be on November 17th that it will appear on Disney+. But then again, it also works as well if you want to wait until maybe sometime in December, maybe close to Christmas or Hanukkah or something, to go and prepare yourself for the moment, or Kwanzaa as well. Alright, so for our next story, we are going to talk about something that is animation related, because technically it does count as a cartoon content, but it's mainly going to be related to YouTube, and it is going to be a bit of a nice transition, considering the fact that we have watched this LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special on YouTube, but now let us go and discuss about a massive history-making milestone that has occurred. Yes, folks, this week, during the elections, there is a new video out there that is now deemed as the most watched video in the history of YouTube. And that is Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark, Baby Shark. Oh, and look at this. It even says Joe Biden wins Nevada. Oh, that's nice. Okay, but anyways, yes, it is official, folks. Baby Shark has now officially become the most watched video in YouTube history, gathering the most views, where this week it actually broke the magic number, where it actually has actually surpassed 7.04 billion views. And the reason why that is actually the magic number is mainly because of the previous title holder, which was the Puerto Rican pop song Despacito by Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee, where they were very close to it, but they did not surpass 7.04 billion views. Baby Shark, however, managed to do so. And keep in mind that it was actually a while that it had to go and become popular, because even though the popularity of Baby Shark did not occur until sometime in 2019, until last year, it was actually uploaded on June 17th, 2016. So, believe it or not, yes, Baby Shark is more than 4 years old, but its popularity did not actually happen until years later. And oh boy, I can already see in the comments, I already see in the chat wall, people are just like freaking cringing right now. People are massively upset about Baby Shark. Yeah, I can definitely tell that you guys are not as big of a fan of Baby Shark as much as the LEGO Star Wars Holiday Special. Okay, but in all seriousness though, it is actually very interesting to see that Baby Shark does become number one. And it did actually make me reflect upon why it actually did become number one. And, like, it is actually very interesting, because it actually does say a lot about how a video can become the most viewed video in YouTube history. And in the case of Baby Shark, it actually managed to grab two major reasons as to why it is immediately in the number one spot. Why the fact that Baby Shark should not be surprising that it is now the most viewed video on YouTube. Now, number one, it is mainly because of the fact that it is a music video. The thing with Baby Shark is that on its format, it really is just a whole music video, where they would just present a popular song and put it in video form, and putting in little animations of like this, of like a group of sharks, and you got these live action little Korean kids like just dancing around and playing with their arms like Baby Shark, and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, with music videos, they are the ones that can easily surpass like tens or even hundreds of millions of views, no problem. When you would think about the videos that would make, like if you would think what kind of videos would be most likely to become amazingly popular, like right off the start, some people may think about like maybe popular gameplays from like PewDiePie or Jacksepticeye or Markiplier or something like that. Maybe it could be cute animal videos like cute kitten videos or cute little puppy videos, or maybe just random compilations of whatever, or maybe there could also be like those Watch Mojo style top 10s. But no, the answer is none of that. they could be massively popular and they could get like tens or hundreds of millions of views, but those aren't the ones that would immediately become some of the most popular YouTube videos. The real answer is music videos. Because in a way, YouTube has become the next generation of MTV, where when you would hear about this new song that is like the latest trends, one of the first places you go to and one of the easiest places to access where to find that song for free is if you would go on YouTube. That is the only way that you can immediately go and like try to be into the trend and know what the song is all about. That is why you see many music artists, like they are immediately popular on YouTube, and they have gathered not only like billions of views, but also they would have millions of subscribers on their accounts, like Justin Bieber or Rihanna or Katy Perry or One Direction or BTS or anything like that. They are so easy to go and gather so many views, and in fact a lot of the profits that they would make does actually come from YouTube, because it's either you would have to go and buy the latest album, or you would have to go and buy the songs individually on iTunes or Spotify or anything like that, or you could just go and immediately listen to it for free in an easily accessible place like YouTube. So that's why music videos usually tend to be the most popular videos on YouTube. In fact, think about the most popular YouTube videos before Baby Shark. Like the ones that were popular, like the ones that were considered the most popular beforehand were music videos like what I mentioned before, like the previous record holder, Despacito, or another one, Gangnam Style. Remember when that thing was massively popular? I think, like, you could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was also the first ever YouTube video to surpass 1 billion views. So that's exactly why music videos tend to be massively popular, and Baby Shark is indeed one of them. But the thing with Baby Shark, unlike the others, also has one extra element that puts it above the rest. The one thing that makes it guaranteed for Baby Shark to immediately become massively popular. Now, I know that some of you might cringe upon Baby Shark, and you think it's like some stupid children's video, but that's the thing. It is. It's for children. And that is exactly why it got massively popular, because it is for the insanely younger crowd, for toddlers, for babies, for little children. It's a song for them. You guys know very well that there are so many parents nowadays that uses YouTube as a babysitting machine. They use YouTube as a way to distract their children to watch hours of like random little kid-friendly content on YouTube, rather it be compilations of stuff like Peppa Pig, or they would watch random like cheap-looking nursery rhyme videos. And usually those videos can like go on, but like there are some that can go like for 2 hours, for 10 hours, for 40 minutes, for 30 minutes. Like those, like you would be shocked at how popular those videos are. Like those things, believe it or not, like even nursery rhyme videos, like 2-hour nursery rhyme videos, it is indeed possible that they could get over 1 billion views. That is not a joke. It can actually happen. And with Baby Shark, yeah, like, of course it's gonna be made for kids. Of course they're gonna go and eat it up. And like, you cannot expect that the amount of views that they got for Baby Shark, this isn't just from, like, 7.04 billion people. No, you know for a fact that this is from children who would keep on repeating it again and again and again, because sometimes you know how kids can be. Like when they enjoy something, they don't just want to consume it once. They want to go and try to consume it over and over and over again, because sometimes it can be comforting to keep on repeating something that they would enjoy, which can include Baby Shark. So honestly, overall, like, yeah, this might be a little bit of a short story, but when it does come to Baby Shark, because of those two combining factors, that the fact that it is a music video, and that, like, it got popular in the charts, and that it is made for children. That is why it got in the ranks of the most viewed video in YouTube history. And I'm just going to say this right now. It would not surprise me if eventually Baby Shark could even surpass 8 billion views. And we know that when it comes to Baby Shark, it's just going to keep on growing. Like right now, we are seeing Baby Shark becoming more and more of a prominent franchise. And we also see like even Pink Fong, the creators of Baby Shark, they know that very well. They're even capitalizing on it. In fact, just recently, they actually put out a new version of Baby Shark meant to go and promote combating COVID, which is basically Baby Shark, except it's about wash your hands, wash your hands, So they would do a variety of versions. And not to mention, by the way, that they're also trying to expand Baby Shark to go beyond just like that little YouTube video. They're trying to expand more than just on the internet. I believe coming soon, it's Nickelodeon who's actually going to bring out a Baby Shark series. So there's going to be a whole Baby Shark TV show, and you never know if that's actually going to expand even further. So from there, that is exactly why, as I said before, it would not surprise me if maybe one day we'll actually see Baby Shark surpass 8 billion views, and maybe we're going to see a resurgence of popularity of Baby Shark, that it's going to become popular all over again, mainly because of how it's trying to expand a franchise. And just a little bit of a warning, yes, I honestly, it would not surprise me if we're going to have a Baby Shark movie. Like, if we're going to have, like, a Baby Shark animated film, or someone wants to make a Baby Shark movie, it is not out of the realm of possibilities. It is not impossible. I mean, we've pretty much lived in an age where, like, if they could make the frickin' Emoji Movie, then who's to say that no one would think that a Baby Shark movie would be a good idea, or if no one would think that a Baby Shark movie would be a profitable idea. So that's kind of the big thing with Baby Shark at this point. Yeah, like, some people are cringed about, like, yeah, they're sick and tired of it. They're annoyed by it, but it's a phenomenon, man. It's like, it's gonna be in history for the rest of our lives. Like, and it's gonna be, and right now, it has already taken a very prominent place in YouTube history. But I will say, it's nice to see a cartoon content taking number one, don't you think? Alright, so with that said, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about Baby Shark being number one at the, Baby Shark being number one on YouTube, the most popular viewed video in history? Does that surprise you? Does that upset you? Does that cheer you up? Let me know what you think. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Oh my goodness. I only saw one video of him telling people to clean their hands during the pandemic, and in a way that only he could. I can't tell, though, if he's too adorable to have that much popularity, or if he's too cute not to. Don't tell me they might give him a big screen movie in the future after this. You think that might raise the plethora of eyebrows? That Baby Shark might be the next Barney the dinosaur? In fact, know what I mean? You never know, dude. I'm just saying. And that's, honestly, the fact that it is animation actually does play a significant factor. Because, like, with Pink Fong, they actually did a pretty good job in presenting simplistic yet very cute and appealing looking characters. Because the thing is that it's a shark, and usually when you think about sharks, they're scary. They could tear you to pieces, but they actually found a way to make a shark look cute, to make it look approachable, to be friendly, that you want to give it a hug. And I mean, like, if you do take a look at Baby Shark, like, with the design that it has, I mean, you look at it, don't you think it already does look like the next Barney? Don't you think it kind of looks Barney-esque? I'm just saying. Okay, let's see what we got here. What else do we have? I've always hated Baby Shark, and I always will know it was likely for something like this to happen. I hope whatever happened to I hope whatever happened to the Gummy Bear song, and whatever happened to Gangnam Style, I'm probably spelling these wrong, I cannot live with an entire Baby Shark franchise. I won't ever escape, so don't ever sing it! Oh, that, honestly, you do bring up a very good point. That was another video that went massively viral. Like, that was, like, way back in the early days of YouTube. That's another good one, actually. The Gummy Bear song, because that was another one where the song was just massively popular and that it became a massive phenomenon. In fact, like, that was another thing. I think, like, maybe the plans are all canceled, but I remember they even mentioned that they want, like, the popularity was so big that they even considered to make a Gummy Bear movie. Maybe those plans are scrapped, but again, I'm just saying, if they would consider to do a Gummy Bear movie just based on the popularity of that song, then who's to say they wouldn't want to do that with Baby Shark? So just keep that in mind. Let's see. I can't believe Baby Shark is the most viewed YouTube video of all time. While it's not cool that an annoying song like Baby Shark, Justin Bieber's Baby, and Gangnam Style to break YouTube records, but the good thing about it is that at least it's nice for new vids, that's either good or not, to break new records. I hope the next video to break YouTube records for most viewed to beat down Baby Shark is it's my history of Walt Disney Animation Studios Plus. People need to learn about Disney history. Yeah, that's not gonna happen, but honestly, I would be happy if it is possible. If we can make Animation Look Back Walt Disney Animation Studios Plus break 1 million, like, that would be amazing. Like, that would be something I would dream of having. I mean, like, my only video that has broken 1 million views is just part 1, or like the first half of the scariest Disney moments. I would love to have more videos that would break 1 million views. That would be amazing. I hope soon. I hope one day that could actually happen. Oh, let's see what else we got here. Well, I wasn't expecting that today. It's not every day we get a video that can surpass such a massive milestone, especially when YouTube themselves hold one of the records for most dislikes. So congrats, Baby Shark. Your cringy goodness has rose to the top. I, for one, was rooting for that. What is a skeleton's favorite snack? What is a skeleton's favorite snack meme? Seriously, that video is freaking hysterical. I haven't seen that video, honestly, but oh god, yeah, I know it sounds crazy. I haven't seen that thing, but that would be, who knows? Who knows, man? All right, I think I'll go and read one more. What the? Okay, anyway, I just saw, it's like, how to F this Baby Shark, how the F is Baby Shark a thing, or how is it a thing? Okay, anyways, I'll read one more comment before we jump into the next story. How can a video that's meant for toddlers grow that phenomenal? I kind of explained why. Even though it is pretty catchy with its beat and everything, it still kind of annoys me for listening to it. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go get that. I'm gonna get that song stuck in my head. And for this, and I guess for this story, it's the end. It's the end. It's the end. It's the end. I know I cringe people by doing that, but what can I say? I mean, what better way to conclude this story about frickin' Baby Shark? Oh, and already I think I actually did cringe some people in the chat wall. Oh my god, that is actually hilarious. Okay, anyways, with that said, let's go and jump onto the next story that I have here, and something that can actually wash off that bad taste of Baby Shark for some of you that absolutely hate it. This is actually something that I find to be very intriguing. Now, we don't really have that much information about it, but it does open up to new possibilities of what could be to come. And let me go and talk to you a little bit about Patrick McHale. Now, what has happened is that this week, the website Inverse did an interview with Over the Garden Wall, talking to Patrick McHale to discuss regarding his cult classic miniseries Over the Garden Wall. Because believe it or not, like just reading it, and I only realized right now that Over the Garden Wall is officially 5 years old. We are currently in the 5th anniversary. No, it's the 6th anniversary. Sorry. for a second there, I thought it was 2019, but no, we're in 2020. Yes, it has been 6 years since Over the Garden Wall, and Inverse decided to go and have a bit of a conversation with Patrick McHale regarding his cult series, mainly discussing about the popularity that it has received, where the inspiration came from, which apparently he would discuss about the fact that Breaking Bad was somehow a massive inspiration for the show, as well as talking about many behind-the-scenes facts. Like, one great example is actually regarding Wirt, where apparently when doing the audition, many people have suggested, like, for some reason, many people wanted to do a Woody Allen impression, and he was not really gelling with that. And for a moment, he thought about, hey, how about if we tried to do, like, something related to Elijah Wood? And that's when the casting director decided to go and say, oh, you know what, if you want to do something like Elijah Wood, then screw it, let's actually get Elijah Wood. And that's exactly what happened. That's how Elijah Wood actually did become Wirt. But the thing is that I'm not here to go and discuss about looking back into Over the Garden Wall. I actually want to go and discuss a little bit regarding a little article over here, a little section of this interview, which, by the way, if you guys are Over the Garden Wall fans, then I highly recommend you go and read this interview. It's actually really fascinating and really well done. Like, it really does give you a great insight and great respect, or even more respect for Over the Garden Wall. But it is actually related to this one little section over here where they would discuss about if there could ever be a possible future for Over the Garden Wall. And Patrick McHale suggested no, but there is something a little different. In which they would go and ask him, you've expanded on the story with a series of graphic novels. Do you think you'll ever create a sequel? In which he responded, I doubt I'll ever make another Over the Garden Wall miniseries. But there is a sort of spiritual successor that I absolutely want to make. I love the miniseries format. It can be very grueling making a TV show, so it's nice when there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And they immediately got interested, and they want to know a little bit more about it. They even asked and got a little excited by stating, can you tell me anything about this spiritual successor you want to make? Does it take place in the unknown? And he responded that, I can't say much about it right now. It has absolutely nothing to do with Over the Garden Wall, other than it comes from a similar place in my heart and brain. So that's pretty much the big thing about this, is that we did get an update of the fact that Patrick McHale wants to go, at least, we don't know if he is actually going to go and do it, but we know that he wants to make another miniseries that's going to be in the same style as Over the Garden Wall. Now, I'm just going to state right now that I have actually seen Over the Garden Wall. I have seen all the 10 episodes, and from what they have shown, it is a pretty epic series. I love it. In fact, I would even go as far and say that it's definitely one of my favorite things that did come out of Cartoon Network. It really is that great of an amazing, that great of a show, very well done, and even the animation, it can even surpass, the Cartoon Network standards with what it wants to do. Yeah, some may say that it has a bit of that television quality, but it actually is an amazing homage to the beginnings of animation. This is, more than anything else, this is a great, massive homage to the cartoons of the early 1900s, and I mean the ones way back, even before the days of Mickey Mouse. And especially the greatest example I can think of that is that there was one moment where I believe it was Greg. Is it Greg? Yeah, it was Greg who went into this little dreamland, and it was very similar to the cartoon of the Laugh-O-Grams of Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, the first popular Walt Disney cartoon that he has ever made. And it has that similar style. The characters have that similar design. It has that similar aesthetic to it. Even there are times when there would be cutscenes where the only thing you would see is literally just through a circle. And it's a very this is all to say, though, that this is a very well done series. I love it. And the fact that we know that there is going to be this form of spiritual successor, or that we're going to get more content from Patrick McHale, for me personally, I feel very excited. And honestly, I want to see more stuff coming from Patrick McHale, actually. And I am very aware that technically, he has been pretty busy lately, mainly with Guillermo del Toro, because the only thing that we do know that's going to be coming from him is actually a collaboration with Guillermo del Toro, where he is a co-writer for his upcoming stop-motion Pinocchio movie that's going to be coming out on Netflix. And we know that was something that has been in the works for many, many years. Del Toro really wanted to do it. He couldn't find the finances. And we thought that for a while it was going to be one of those amazing ideas Guillermo had that it would never happen. But then suddenly Netflix came in and said, hey, how about we actually go and do it? Let's see what happens. And they let him do it. So that's honestly great to see. At least that thing is going to be coming to life. And at least it does give us an explanation of like where Patrick McHale has been ever since Over the Garden Wall. And yeah, some could say that like he has been working on some other stuff as well, but honestly, I would love to see more things coming from him. Like maybe not necessarily more Over the Garden Wall stuff, but I do want to see more shows that are similar to Over the Garden Wall. I want to see like more like honestly, the thing with Over the Garden Wall that really does make it stand out, and that actually does make it a lot of fun, is the fact that it is a miniseries. Because let's be honest, miniseries, like mini animated series, are actually an extremely rare breed. Usually, if people want to try to make short-form television animation stuff, they would usually do just specials, and that's it, or maybe just even TV movies. But very few would actually want to go and take the risk of actually trying to make a whole miniseries out of it. And Patrick McHale actually did find that perfect formula in how to do it. And honestly, I don't know what could be to expect from that series. Maybe it's going to be something that will be vastly different, but hopefully we could actually see some of the same tones from Over the Garden Wall that could still remain intact with Patrick McHale's next project. Like for me, what I am hyping up about, what I am hoping to see is that maybe we will see more of the mystery aspect of it, like to expand upon the myth and lore of the, like this new imaginative world. That would be great to go and check out, not to mention developing some great characters to hang out with, because that's also a major factor into what made Over the Garden Wall such a memorable special. It's mainly because of the fact that you would hang around with characters such as Wirt and Greg, that you're joining alongside them along their adventures. And yeah, like the characters can be a bit flawed. Like, yeah, maybe Greg can be a little too naive, or Wirt can be a little too stubborn and a bit of a stick in the mud. But they are still a lot of fun. Like, they're still great characters and greatly well-developed characters, well-written characters, in fact. And not to mention, like, you would also have, like, extra characters that would help out along the way, like Beatrice. Like, it's mainly because of hanging out with these characters make exploring the world a lot of fun. That's what makes Over the Garden Wall so great. So hopefully we will have that characterization and that mystery aspect. And not to mention, with the animation style, I really do hope that we would see even more homages to classic animation. And when I say classic animation, I mean like the pre-Mickey age. Like, hopefully we will see more of those as well, because that's also another thing that really does make Over the Garden Wall stand out. I've already explained a little bit of how the animation can really stand out and even, like, surpass the levels of what's usually done on Cartoon Network. But hopefully we will see more of those techniques be implemented. Like, here's another great example that I just thought up about, and that is actually the dance scene. There was a moment where Wirt and Greg enter upon a tavern, or I think it's just Wirt, and then at some point you see this dancing guy go around where, like, you see him through some kind of fisheye lens, and he would try to do this dance while talking about this legend. If you have seen the episode, then you know exactly what I mean. And it was very much an homage to some of those classic cartoons where they would actually rotoscope live dancers in order to present, like, little animation scenes. They would actually go and, they would do that in order to go and boost up their animation. Like, probably one great example that I've seen shared so many times on social media recently is Betty Boop in Snow White, where you actually see Coco the Clown, where he would dance like Cab Calloway, I believe. You could correct me if I'm wrong on that, but he would do this jazz-style dance while there was a witch that transformed him into a ghost, and you see that beautiful, crisp, clean rotoscope animation, and the way that they would present that animation was just absolutely beautiful. So hopefully we will see more of that. And honestly, I guess I could say that those are just like more requests of what I would like to see more of coming from Patrick McHale with his new series, like more of that classic animation homage, more well-written characters, and more mystery aspect in order to really expand upon the world that they're set in. Like, maybe it'll be completely different, but overall, I could say that I am absolutely hyped for this brand new series that Patrick McHale has. Like, honestly, I love what he's doing with Over the Garden Wall. I'm already hyping myself up with the upcoming Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio movie. So I'm all set to see. I'm excited to see if there will be another Patrick McHale miniseries. So just want to go and state that. Okay, so with that said and done, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I want to ask you all, what do you all think about the idea of a Patrick McHale a Patrick McHale miniseries that's going to be a spiritual successor to Over the Garden Wall? Is this something that you guys would be interested in? Are you guys actually pretty excited for something like this to happen? Are you fans of Over the Garden Wall? Let me know what you all think now. Okay, let's see. I haven't seen the miniseries, but I might watch it on HBO Max soon, now that I have the service. I didn't expect the series to become a cult following, but I got a peak interest into seeing it. The only modern Cartoon Network shows that ever came out in the 2010s that I loved was Regular Show and Infinity Train, but this could add to my favorites if I find it amazing once I see it. Hope it's great once I see it. Oh my god, dude, you need to see it. And especially if you love Infinity Train, oh my god, you're gonna love Over the Garden Wall. I just need to go and say that right now. Like, absolutely go and check it out. And, like, the fact that it is on HBO Max, if you have it, then free access right there. Go and do it. Let's see what we got. Seeing that it's a spiritual successor, I'm curious on what characters from the original Over the Garden Wall will be coming back. Or will the show feature new characters with the same setting in the unknown? Will the characters be descendants of the original characters? We should be given this info soon. So what if there won't be another season of Over the Garden Wall? The people demand more facts, damn it. Well, that was already a question that was answered, and when we say a spiritual successor to Over the Garden Wall, that doesn't mean it's going to be connected to Over the Garden Wall. In fact, Patrick McHale did state that the idea he has in mind actually has nothing to do with Over the Garden Wall, so unfortunately, no, we're not going to see any of the characters come back. It's not going to be set in the unknown. We just know that it's going to be a brand new show that's going to have a similar feeling to Over the Garden Wall. So hopefully that will emphasize what you're asking. Let's see. What else do we got? Anyone else? Oh, I am hyped as hell too. Over the Garden Wall was one of my favorite cartoons of the 2010s, and I'm excited to see McHale to see what he will come up with next, especially since we need more animation like it. Exactly, dude. Let's see. Do we have any more comments? Well, okay, technically not a lot, but I'll read one more before we jump into the next story then. I've watched Over the Garden Wall not in October, but in November, since the miniseries was released in the month of Thanksgiving. I just hope Patrick McHale makes a sequel like it said in the article, because I kind of been thinking about it for a while. I just hope the show, they would show it on HBO Max, since cable TV is kind of fading away. Yeah, that is definitely true. That's one thing that I could absolutely say. Well, that is only, like, a bit iffy, because the thing is that is if Cartoon Network would be the one that would accept him. Because if Cartoon Network would say yes to Patrick McHale's miniseries, then it would guarantee to be on HBO Max. But, again, that would be something to wait and see, because, who knows, especially with his collaboration on Pinocchio, maybe this could be something that Netflix could pick up before HBO Max would get their hands on it. So yeah, so I just want to say best of luck to Patrick McHale, and hopefully we will see more of his work soon. Okay, so now with that said, it is now time that we are going to jump onto the grand finale, and this will absolutely be a grand finale, because what I'm about to reveal to you is something that, I'm not going to exaggerate when I say this, but it's going to be pretty shocking. It's actually going to pull up the curtains, or pull down the stage, and reveal some secret drama that has been revealed in a place that you never think would be an area that would have some significant drama. But even though this is not animation related, this is something related to something that I'm very passionate about, which is the Muppets. In fact, I love the Muppets as much as I do love animation. And reading about this is honestly a massive eye-opener. So with that said, yeah, I see some people in the comments want to try to hype it up because it's the Muppets. It's like, it's the most sensational, inspirational, celebrational, Muppetational grand finale, yay! Yeah, about that. Unfortunately though, as much as it would be fun to really talk about the Muppets in a positive and light way, this is not going to be one of those reasons, unfortunately. And with that, did they resurrect Jim Henson? Yeah, I wish, but no, that's not the case. What I'm going to be talking about is a Hollywood Reporter article called Disney's Muppets Problem. Can the franchise retcon with its boys club culture? And keep in mind, this is honestly a massive article that they have written. And this is, again, from the Hollywood Reporter, written by Seth Abramovich. And it actually does expose a lot of the drama and a lot of the behind-the-scenes problems that is within the Muppets. Most namely, explaining why is it that Disney is not using the Muppets as much as some of their other big franchises. Like, why isn't the Muppets getting the same treatment as something like Marvel or Pixar or Star Wars or anything from Lucasfilm and stuff like that? And I will quickly comment on this little picture that they got here. It's actually a custom-made photo, like an artwork that they have done, which you see Mickey Mouse is operating Kermit the Frog, putting on the show, but then underneath you see just Mickey Mouse just stepping on the turkey Beverly Plume from Muppets Now, which is funny, but it does make sense and highlight a very harsh reality about the Muppets. And the big thing that they have revealed here, like I said before, is explaining a bit as to why is it that the Muppets are not as utilized as many of the other Disney properties. Why is it that the Muppets really sank low in terms of its popularity ever since Disney has purchased the Muppets back in 2004? Well, there are three major things that they have revealed in this article regarding the behind the scenes of the Muppets that have been pretty controversial and kind of eye-opening. And number one is actually regarding what they've mentioned in its title is its boys club culture. And the reason why it is stated to be a boys club culture is mainly the fact that, unfortunately, when it comes to the Muppets, it is an area that really does lack diversity. Like, it has a serious issue with trying to hire women or to hire people of color. Well, okay, scratch that. That maybe, like, when it comes to women, they do bring in some, but they're not as important as the white males that are in there. Case in point, one prominent example that they do have is regarding a Muppet veteran who has been working for more than 30 years on the Muppets, Julianne Buescher, whom recently on Muppets Now, she actually puppeteered Beverly Plume, the turkey during the Swedish chef bits in Muppets Now. And from there, they mentioned that Julianne Buescher apparently, she is not credited, like, despite the fact that she is a Muppet veteran, she is not one of the major key players of the Muppets. In fact, they actually credited her as an additional Muppet performer. And that is mainly because when it comes to the Muppets, they actually do have something that they call their core Muppet players. And unfortunately, every single one of those core Muppet players are just white males. And by the way, when I say core Muppet players, those are the people that would play the major Muppet characters like Kermit, Fozzie, Miss Piggy, Gonzo, and so much more. And the people that they got include Matt Vogel, Eric Jacobson, Dave Goelz, Bill Barretta, Peter Linz, and Dave Rudman. Those are the 6 key players. And those are the only 6 key players, unfortunately. When there would be other people that would come in that are people of color or that are women, they cannot access to those core players, unfortunately. It's just them playing the main ones while everyone else has to play the extras. This is why a lot of people have complained that within the Muppet Studios, there is a serious lack of diversity, or there is a lack of diversity to show that women and people of color are as important as white males. Now, you might be thinking that maybe it's just a bit of a social issue of just a diversity thing, but it's actually a little bit more to that. There is actually a little bit more in the case that it actually does play a major factor in terms of the lifestyle that either the core players or that the additional performers, where all the women and the people of color usually end up with, there is a massive difference that does affect their lifestyle, and more specifically, it does affect their salary. So I'm just going to quickly read from the article here from Hollywood Reporter, where it really does emphasize this, where it states, where would I start? Okay, so yeah. It pretty, oh no, okay, here, it says so, right, yeah, it starts from here. It states, Buscher, who would not comment for the story, and keep in mind, there's a lot of people that either want to remain anonymous, or they just don't want to comment whatsoever on here, is listed as a additional Muppet performer on Muppets Now, a credit typically assigned to supporting puppeteers who operate hands or play rats and chickens. For that, she earns scale, or, excuse me, she earns scale, or $1,500 a week, far less than what the core performers make. Disney would not reveal those figures, nor would it make any Muppet Studio employees available to comment, but insiders say they command fees more in keeping with typical live-action series leads, easily tens of thousands of dollars per episode. So as you can imagine, the core players, they would get tens of thousands of dollars per episode, whereas the additional puppeteers, they only get $1,500 a week. You can definitely see the unbalance that's in there, and why diversity can be a massive problem, because that, like, when you're in the Muppets, if you're a woman or a person of color, then you won't be able to get those tens of thousands of a week, mainly because you're not one of the core players. Which actually does lead to the next problem that they have, number 2, and that is regarding how Disney finds loopholes in order to really underpay the puppeteers, like pay them so much less than they should. And this was pretty much actually revealed that, like many other companies, Disney would try to find loopholes in order to keep the payments really low and not actually pay them as much as they probably should, just like I said before. In fact, they would go, there is, maybe, is it this one? I remember, oh, no, it's right over here, actually. This is actually a prominent example showing you how the Muppet performers, especially the additional puppeteers, are massively underpaid, and that they would try to go through hoops in order to keep them less paid than they probably should be. Where it states, asked about a pattern of underpayments to Muppet puppeteers by Disney that dates to 1990, a SAG-AFTRA representative responds that some companies have attempted to place puppeteers under contracts that are inappropriate to their type of work in order to get around contractual obligations like consecutive employment and overtime. Just as an example, puppeteers have sometimes been hired as lower paid stunt puppeteers when they are not performing any stunt work. And keep in mind, like, one thing that is also extremely dangerous with this aspect right over here, with the fact that they would keep trying to find ways to underpay their employees, especially with the Muppet performers, is that, like, in this day and age, like, with the fact that we are in the COVID age, like, many of these additional puppeteers, they are screwed. Like, honestly, a lot of them no longer really have a job. Like, unless they're performing in Muppets Now, they can't really do anything. Like, unless they're working in Muppets Now or they're one of the core puppeteers, they're, like, out of a job. And it doesn't matter how many years they have performed with the Jim Henson Company or with the Muppets. And a great example is actually bringing up Michael Sisti, Michelin. Yeah, Michelin Sisti, where apparently he was a puppeteer veteran for many years, even working with Jim Henson, like in the 1990s movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, where he was the puppeteer of Michelangelo. And for a long time, like, he would play some of, like, the extra stuff, rather it be, like, playing as, like, penguins or chickens or rats and stuff like that, or even be the arms of characters, like he was the drumming hands of Animal. But because of COVID, despite the fact that he has done so much work for the Muppets, he was let go. Like, Disney's only answer in order to cut down costs is to let go of employees that they don't necessarily need, which means the additional puppeteers that are not a part of the core group. And it's unfortunate with the kind of treatment that they would get. It's like, okay, well, yeah, things are going bad in these COVID times, so sorry, but we're going to have to let yourself go. It doesn't matter how long that you've been. Here's your severance pay. All right, good luck. And yeah, that's kind of the harsh reality that they have to face right now, where especially for these additional Muppet puppeteers, it cannot go any worse for them in terms of trying to seek out for jobs. And I mean, especially when it comes to puppeteering, it's not an easy thing to try to find a new job trying to use your puppets as a specialty. But then there is number 3. And this one, I would say personally, is probably the most shocking of them all. And this actually does reveal something related to Steve Whitmire. Yes, you guys probably recognize Steve Whitmire as the guy who had been playing Kermit the Frog for a very long time. Like, ever since Jim Henson passed away back in 1990, Steve Whitmire was actually the guy who picked up Kermit the Frog and become the new Kermit for many years. But then suddenly, in 2017, they actually fired Steve Whitmire, citing that the dude really got, like, the fact that he became Kermit the Frog really got into his head, and he became way too controlling and way too egotistical, especially in terms of his employees. He would be way too protective. And, like, he would be too controlling on set when it comes to being Kermit the Frog. And there are even allegations where he would blacklist any puppeteer that would dare consider playing as Kermit the Frog, even just as an understudy. Now, apparently, that's just the narrative that we have gotten ever since 2017. And there are still some people that do say that is the case, even in this article, actually. However, at the same time, though, there are also other people that step up and mention that it's actually not the case. That is only the narrative that Disney would tell you. Very rarely would we also get the other side of it, where they would mention that when it comes to Steve Whitmire, is that technically he is only a little too controlling and a little too egotistical for Disney. And this article actually... Now, this part right here actually does describe it best. It says, also controversial was the 2017 firing of Steve Whitmire, a Henson disciple who joined The Muppet Show in 1978, eventually inheriting Kermit from Henson after his 1990 death. A virtuoso puppeteer, Whitmire was nevertheless a thorn in Disney's side for years, advocating aggressively on behalf of puppeteers' rights while doing his best to ensure that the Muppet ethos, i.e. how Jim would have done it, remains intact. A Disney statement at the time of his termination referred to Whitmire's repeated unacceptable business conduct over a period of many years. Whitmire refutes that characterization, telling The Hollywood Reporter, there's a fine line between being difficult to work with and being difficult to take advantage of. So that's the thing, is that there is also that other side of the story where Steve Whitmire is trying to be a defender for the puppeteers. That with the way that Disney was trying to take advantage of those puppeteers, whether it be through payments or through the lack of diversity, Steve Whitmire would be the one that would champion them and actually stand up to them. And that is a major problem for Disney, because they can't really get their way as long as Steve Whitmire would be around. Now, it seems kind of shocking, because there is still that other side, again, that they would still say that Steve Whitmire is the one that is in the wrong. And one of these people, actually, is Brian Henson, one of the people that is currently in charge of the Jim Henson Company. But believe it or not, in this article, they actually do mention that Brian Henson is not as positive towards the Muppets as you may possibly think. Because they actually do mention that when it comes to Brian Henson, despite the fact that he is the son of Jim Henson and being the director of Muppets Christmas Carol, of Muppets Treasure Island, and even working on Muppets Tonight, he's not necessarily all that fond of the Muppets as much as you may think. Even stated right over here, that what quickly became apparent, what actually quickly became apparent to those who worked with him was that Brian was not his legendary father, nor did he want to be. He has hated puppeteers for his entire life, says one-time collaborator. He has this thing that these people were siphoning from his father, like vampires: Jerry Nelson, Dave Goelz, and Frank Oz. The source continues, citing Henson's original core team. And then, as a way to try to go and prove it, they even mention about one incident back in 2017 at the Hollywood Bowl, where apparently there was a Muppet live show that they were doing, and they would be doing their usual shenanigans, presenting a whole bunch of skits, have celebrity guest stars, and then at the end, as usual, they would all come together and sing the Rainbow Connection, where they would all get together and just sing that fan favorite song, because it is one of the most popular Muppet songs that a lot of people really resonate to. And from there, apparently it has been reported where backstage, Brian Henson was actually overheard just blaring out, "I hate that fucking song!" I apologize for the profanity, but unfortunately, those were the words that he did legitimately state. So there is that possible side that maybe Brian Henson is not as fond, or as not as optimistic or friendly towards the Muppets as he may probably seem. But then again, those are allegations. That's from one side. There is still that other side, Lisa Henson, the other person who is in charge of the Jim Henson Company. She has defended her brother, in which I know there is a quote here where she actually stated, as a response to those allegations, anyone who knows Brian knows that these claims are ridiculous. Brian Henson's legacy as a director, producer, performer, and innovator for dozens of puppet productions over the last 35 plus years speaks for itself. He considers the original Muppet performing troupe part of our family, and has regarded Paul Williams, writer of Rainbow Connection and Brian's music collaborator on Muppets Christmas Carol, as uniquely the best songwriter ever for the Muppets. So that's basically the big thing about all this, is that it really does highlight the harsh reality of what is going on with the Muppets and what has happened backstage, rather it be the situation with diversity, with underpaying their employees, and with the case of Steve Whitmire. And going one by one, or at least I could say generally, one thing that I could say is that even though a lot of these things might be allegations and might be things that are not fully confirmed, I can unfortunately say that I feel like many of these cases are actually true, because knowing Disney's history, a lot of this really does check out with the kind of behavior that they would often present, especially within animation. Let's get into these one by one. Like, number one, with the boys club mentality. Unfortunately, this is actually a bit of a tradition that has happened in the Walt Disney Company, like even going as far back as the days of Walt Disney. Now, you could pretty much excuse how things were back then in the age of Walt, mainly because that's how things were back then. It was a lot more male dominant, where female workers are not usually viewed as highly as their male counterparts, and that's why women don't necessarily get as much opportunities as men do, even in the Walt Disney Company, where the grand majority of them are just stuck in the ink and paint department. But then, as you would go along, like, now that women and feminism are becoming more prominent and more significant in order to obtain more women's rights so that they could be equal to men, well, that's still a bit of a massive problem at Disney, where there is still a bit of that misogynistic mentality and a bit of that toxic masculinity that still kind of covers a bit of the Walt Disney Company. And even the lack of diversity as well, where it's not just women, but even a bit of people of color as well, they do have a little bit of a hard time. Now, they did get better, of course, but there is still that issue that is still there. And case in point, probably the best example of that is what has happened with Pixar. We have all heard about the reports that because of the leadership of John Lasseter, they have really formed a toxic masculine environment in there. In fact, there is even a little bit of racism that was also dominating at Pixar at the time. And that is all like that, and that really did play a very significant factor with the hashtag #MeToo moment that John Lasseter endured, with multiple claims, and a lot of them have pretty much been confirmed, about how John Lasseter pretty much would behave very inappropriately towards women. Maybe not as bad as like something like Harvey Weinstein, but still not okay for anyone to do in his position. And from there, like, we can really see that happen, and it's really not that surprising to see that, like even when Disney bought the Muppet Studios back in 2004, like, they still kept that boys club mentality intact that's in there. Now, granted, I will say, by the way, going back to Pixar, I know some people might say that technically things did get a little bit better under the creative leadership of Pete Docter, but that's just saying that Disney still has a very prominent history of having that boys club mentality, which still applies to the Muppets. And with the thing about the Muppets is that, like, when going into the issue of the Muppets, yeah, it definitely is a massive problem that they kind of built up this system where it makes it next to impossible for women or for people of color to get a prominent job working for the Muppets, especially when the core players are nothing but white males. However, one thing that I can say is that, unfortunately, this might be a case that I feel like more than anything else, it's going to be the hardest to really try to fix, because it's a system that has been built ever since the very beginning, back in the days of Jim Henson. And this is not necessarily Jim Henson's fault, because anyone who knew him would say that he is the most caring and liberal guy out there, who does care about everyone and wants to make sure he wants to give opportunities to as many people as possible, including women and people of color. But unfortunately, it did end up becoming a whole system within the Muppets where it is mainly dominated by white males. And it's going to be a hard case to break, especially when it comes to many of the prominent Muppets. They're all played by dudes, even if they are women. Like, think about Janice and Miss Piggy. Like, those are both female Muppets, and yet they are actually known to be played by dudes, especially with Miss Piggy. However, from there, that also brings up a problem of why it's going to be very hard to fix, or it's impossible to fix, because it's also part of tradition. It's kind of impossible to think about Miss Piggy being played by a woman, because Miss Piggy has always been played by a dude. In fact, some could argue that Miss Piggy is the most renowned and most beloved drag performer of all time. I mean, like, technically Miss Piggy herself is not a is not a drag queen, but it's not inaccurate to say that Miss Piggy is a drag performer, because when you would have to perform as Miss Piggy, yeah, you gotta go in full-on drag. You really gotta go and exaggerate your diva side. That's the whole point of Miss Piggy. So from there, it's kind of difficult to try to really break that. And I think, like, when it comes to the diversity aspect, the most difficult thing for the Muppets to try to balance is going to be between diversity and tradition, to really find that good middle, because there are some traditions that you just cannot break. But at the same time, it is important that they need to go and include some diversity so that they can give more opportunities for women and for people of color, so that they could also be considered core players, that they can't just reserve it to just white males. And maybe a way that they could do that is just to try to go and expand upon their core players, who can be considered a core player, so that they can include those people. And the thing is that it really, like, technically, it's not necessarily just a Muppet problem, but yes, it is a Disney problem, because when you do look at Jim Henson, this article does even state that that when you look into the Jim Henson side, Lisa Henson actually does do a great job in trying to include as much diversity as possible, especially when it comes to some of their modern productions, like The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, where they hire a lot of women and a lot of people of color to perform as Muppets. To perform as, like, the characters in the show. But when it comes to the Muppets, it's gonna be a tough egg to crack in order to bring them in, to really contribute to the Muppets as much as people like Matt Vogel or Bill Beretta or Dave Goelz, to be among their ranks. That's gonna be something that I feel like is gonna be the most difficult among all of them. But then you also got the aspect of the Muppet performers being underplayed. Again, that is another aspect that I feel like really does check out with the history of Disney. Because Disney, the truth is, they are a giant corporation. And with every giant corporations, their biggest enemy is union workers. And no matter what they try to do, they will try to find ways to go through hoops in order to try to save money instead of taking care of the well-being of their employees. In fact, we just saw this recent example of this with Disney firing around 28,000 employees at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. Decided to give up on them instead of continuously protecting them during the pandemic, to make sure their well-being is okay, that they still have a check to keep them secure, to keep them safe, and that they want to make sure that their employees don't catch COVID, so that they could go and stay at home, so that when things do get better, they could go and actually get back to work. But that doesn't necessarily seem to be the case. And especially when it comes to the Muppets, yeah, of course they're going to try to go and find ways to try to go through loopholes so that they could go and underpay them, especially with the recent treatment that they have been given to the Muppets, considering that they don't necessarily care about them. And that's kind of the big thing that we have seen throughout the Muppets ever since they were purchased by Disney, is that that Disney doesn't really care about the Muppets, and they wouldn't necessarily be in the mood to try to spend so much money as much as their live action remakes or something like that. They're kind of they would often question if the Muppets can be as profitable as something as Marvel, which is why they are a little hesitant in trying to really splurge out in the money, which is why they're more keen on trying to find loopholes in order to go and in order to pay less towards their employees than they should, which is why because of this, they really care, they care a lot more about the money, more so than they do about the well-being of the Muppet performers, whether it be the core players or as the additional puppeteers. But then you also have the aspect of Steve Whitmire. And again, this is a situation that is definitely not black and white. Beforehand, a lot of people kind of just accepted that, yeah, okay, so Steve Whitmire can be a bit of a dick, and that's why he got fired from the Muppets. And they even got Brian Henson behind his back. But there is also another side where it reveals that it might not be the case, where Steve Whitmire is standing up for the employees so that they could be better treated by Disney. Like, Steve Whitmire knew that Disney was treating the Muppet performers terribly, like with the lack of diversity and with how they are continuously underpaid. So the thing is that there is that side where Steve Whitmire was the puppeteers champion, and Disney would not go and stand for it, which is why they would go and ultimately decide to just fire him. That's it. And honestly, if that really is the case, if that is actually true, then honestly, it's too bad, like, to be honest. Like, it really is a shame that they had to let go of Steve Whitmire that way. Because I'll say this, I have been open before many times that, yes, I actually am one of those people that did like Matt Vogel's Kermit the Frog. Like, with what he did with Muppets Now, I actually liked it. I think it's a lot of fun. And I feel like the problems with Kermit is more the fact that it's more in terms of the directing and in terms of what Disney would ask him to do, more so than what Matt Vogel would go and offer to the table. But still, that doesn't mean I don't that doesn't mean that I don't like the Steve Whitmire Kermit. I mean, Steve Whitmire is the Kermit the Frog that I grew up with throughout my whole life. And I mean, personally, like, if you would ask me if I would, like, if you would ask me if I would like to see Steve Whitmire come back as Kermit and replace Matt Vogel, I would definitely say hell yes. I would love that, actually. But honestly, this is something that I feel like should really be investigated more. And that's something that I feel like the people of SAG-AFTRA or the union workers should actually really investigate to see what is actually going on. What is the truth of this story? And honestly, in my opinion, I don't know if that is ever going to happen, if we will actually find some answers. But honestly, it is pretty interesting to see this kind of development that has happened, rather it be the behind the scenes of the Muppets in general, or what has happened to Steve Whitmire. But for me, honestly, this is a case where I do wish that we could actually have some answers, and I do hope that Steve Whitmire, maybe he could find some justice. But overall, like I said before, this is really a case where, like, now with Steve Whitmire, and like we could throw in Brian Henson as well, where it's definitely not black and white, where it is kind of a case of he said, she said, and hopefully we would know what would be the truth soon. But even at that, does that mean we will find some actions later? Who knows? But one thing I will say, though, is that in this article, it did actually confirm that things will seem to be a bit better for the Muppets. Because a big factor into why the Muppets were never really that popular ever since they were purchased by Disney was mainly because of Bob Iger. And Bob Iger is openly not a fan of the Muppets whatsoever. Bob Chapek, the new CEO, however, he's a lot more keen. He's a lot more open to the Muppets, more so than Bob. And especially regarding the new CEO of Muppet Studios. They got a new creative head because apparently not long after the firing of Steve Whitmire, they did also fire the heads of the Muppet Studios for a reason that we don't really know per se. But now they actually do got a new person, which is Leigh Slaughter, who is a little bit more open towards the Muppets, and she actually did promise that there will be some more Muppet content coming soon, but they have yet to be ready to go and reveal what they are. And apparently, and by the way, if you want to know a little bit more, apparently Leigh Slaughter is the head of character and puppetry studio at Disney Imagineering, so she is definitely more than qualified to join in, actually. So, like, maybe there will be a little bit more of a positive future when it comes to the Muppets, but it really does highlight this massive drama that's been happening behind the scenes with them. And that's one major reason why I really wanted to go and talk about this in the podcast, is because it really reveals a side of the Muppets that nobody actually does know. It actually does reveal a side where there can be a lot of problems with the with the Muppets, rather it be in terms of the lack of diversity in there, and that is mainly because of a system that kind of makes it hard to break for women and for people of color to actually join into the ranks of the core group of the Muppets. Like, will a black guy ever play Kermit the Frog or Gonzo or something like that? Or would a woman be in the ranks to help play prominent Muppet characters? Honestly, that we don't know, and we'll have to wait and see on that in the future, but it seems highly doubtful. We know about Disney's ongoing treatment of their employees, and usually it can be like crap, and especially with the fact that they really don't care about the Muppets, then they're not going to care to help pay them more and stuff like that, and hopefully there will be unions that would go and investigate on this. And then there's also the factor of Steve Whitmire, and that's something that I do hope in the future that one day we would get answers to this, and hopefully we would know about, like, what has actually happened, like, who really is in the wrong in this case. Is it more Steve Whitmire? Is it the Walt Disney Company? Is it Brian Henson? Honestly, I don't know, but that definitely was a decision that, in a way, kind of reshaped the Muppets as we know it today. And this is no criticism against Matt Vogel at all. This is just something to wonder what has ever happened to one of the most prominent and one of the biggest Muppet performers that they've had, like, ever since the days of Jim Henson. It really is kind of a major mystery, but yeah, that's kind of the whole story. And again, I really do recommend that you go and check out this article from the Hollywood Reporter to really go more in depth into this. But yeah, I think this is something that should be highlighted a lot more, and it is definitely worth discussing regarding the situation with the Muppets. Okay, so with all that said, though, I know this is definitely a lot to take in, but now I want to ask you all in the chat wall, what do you all think about this? What do you all think about the whole solution with the Muppets? Again, I know this is a lot to take in, but let me know what you think. Okay, let's see now. Can we have just one fave that isn't problematic to some extent? In all seriousness, this really does suck. And the lack of diversity is especially ludicrous because the characters are stuff like frogs and pigs and bears and whatever. No disrespect to the talent of the core cast, but why does it matter that they're the dreaded privilege combination if they're not restricted by any race, or at least in any human? That, again, the big problem is just the fact that it's kind of the system that's built in ever since the days of Jim Henson. It's not necessarily Jim Henson's fault, but it's just kind of the way it is that ultimately got built up. Let's see now. One thing for sure, I'm never going to look at the song Man or Muppet the same way again. Still though, I do wish the people at Henson Studios the best of luck for things to get better. Also, the rumors are true about Brian Henson, is that why he made, that's why he made the Happy Time Murders. I also have to wonder if this is why the Muppets History Show at Disney World got canceled. That could, well, I mean, the thing, it's honestly kind of interesting that you do mention about the Muppets History Show, because in a way, it has kind of come back, because at Walt Disney World this year, the Muppets did return, not necessarily as a show, but in that same area where they would have the History Show, they actually do have the Muppet characters just pop in from time to time, just celebrating Christmas. So, that could be a bit of a different story. But yeah, you do bring up a very good point, and that actually is related to Brian Henson, where there is more of a strong case that he could be more against the Muppets, and that could be what kind of fueled him to go and actually do the Happy Time Murders, to give a new image of, Jim Henson-style puppetry that is different from the Muppets. It's in a way, it's kind of like a way for him to fully separate himself from the Muppets, to go and make content like the Happy Time Murders. So you do bring up a good point right there. I have been a long-time Muppets fan ever since the day I was born. Hearing these stories made me feel disappointed, but that won't mean I won't like the franchise anymore. I will still think the Muppets are enjoyable. I hope things improve both in the franchise and behind the scenes. By the way, I just remember that there was a Sesame Street project in which Cinderella changed genders because Elmo took the starring role and called it Cinderelmo. Boy, did that not age well. Yeah, there was that. Okay, let's see, what else do we got here? What other comments do we have? There we go. I remember the classic story regarding Jim Henson's refusal to sell the Muppets to Disney back in the back in the late 1980s, and his sudden and abrupt death that followed, and the suspicion that might have raised among something about Disney morality. But between this and the other stories about Pixar being a white boys club, as well as the instances where Disney has found loopholes to underpay/fire their workers in their parks as well, it's hard to stomach, and I'll figure out how much it's true or not. Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's something you need to process like for a while. Like, this is not something that you can find a conclusion like right after hearing this. This will take time to register in your brain. Let's see. But with $1,500, if I were an additional puppeteer, a big pay wouldn't really matter. Art shouldn't revolve around money as long as I get to enjoy the passion I love. Then I'm more than content with the results. Even if it should be temporary, I would be grateful that I would be given the opportunity. I apologize if it sounds insensitive, but I hope someday people can come together again. Yeah, well, I mean, like, I understand what you're trying to say, that it's more important to love your art more so than just doing something for the money. That is true. But then again, this is not really about, it's not really about the passion or anything like that. It's about the fairness. Because the thing is, there's a big difference between $1,500 a week and paying tens of thousands of dollars per episode. And from there, you could definitely see the imbalance where it can actually be a little bit unfair, especially when it comes to the diversity aspect, where the people getting tens of thousands of dollars is only for people who are white males, and that's it. So that's why it's a situation that is a bit problematic. Let's see, what else do we have here? To think that a franchise that embraces diversity lacks not just that, it's their workplace, but also that the puppeteers are being underpaid and treated poorly. I do wonder something about Brian Henson, however. Does he hate the Muppets because he lost his passion over time, or was it because he dragged into being a puppeteer due to the legacy of his father? Honestly, that could be a massive possibility. Like, really, who knows at this point? We really don't know. Like, maybe we'll find answers later, but that's a question that, like, would require a lot more investigating. Let's see. Would we do? Okay, I'll go with it. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with one more story and one more comment, and then that's it. Oh gosh, this is insane. I'm thinking about what Randy Pitchford, the CEO of Gearbox, did when he did not pay his employees after the success of Borderlands 3, and what he did to David Eggins, the original voice actor of Claptrap, or anything of what the game companies did with crunch culture like BioWare and CD Projekt Red, and Disney is now becoming the Blizzard company. Yeah, that seems like a harsh comment comparing Disney to Blizzard, but sadly, that's not inaccurate. And with that said, that should conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And I just want to say thank you all so much for listening, and thank you all so much for watching. And now we can pretty much rest easily knowing that we are once again in a new era of positivity, inclusivity, and care and love. Basically, it's a new era of love that we can finally be stronger than ever to reject hatred and to reject far-right ideologies, including white supremacy. So with all that said and done, I just would like to say thank you all so much for listening, thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!